Okay, guys, welcome to another edition of the Incredible Hulk podcast. And we are talking about the season 4 story called King of the Beach, which starred Bill Bixby as David Banner and Lou Ferrigno in 2 roles in this one as the Hulk and one as Carl Molino. So this is the first time he's ever done a sort of speaking part in the Hulk. And also starred Leslie Ackerman as Mandy and a little actress at the time, played a little girl at the sandcastle scene, Angela Lee, she was called then, but now she's Angela Lee Sloan. And I've got a little interview with that lady at the end of this cast, so please stick around for that. Right. It was directed by Barry Crane, and it was written by Karen Harris, one of the team, usually co-writing with Jill Sherman, done many Hulk stories. So I'm going to welcome my friend here who's joining me for this one. Graham, how are you there?
How are we doing, Frank? Good to be back, mate. And what a beefcake of an episode we have for you tonight, folks.
It's full of beefcakes in this one, yeah. But yeah, you've got a lot of muscle in this one, yeah. So it starts with like showing like all these sort of like bodybuilding guys, working out on the beach.
Mm-hmm.
And all that was shot around Venice Beach and Santa Monica Pier there, which you'll see a Hulk out scene later on in that bit.
Yep.
So it was all around that area in California. And we see this young woman who's character Mandy.
On a rollerblade.
Yeah. On a roller skate, yeah. Being hit by a car.
Oh, so we thought.
Yes, or so we thought indeed. It's a bit of a scam going on. David goes to rush to her aid, he always does, and gets himself obviously unintentionally involved in the storyline by being a witness to the scene, even though
a near witness. Yeah,
he didn't see the hit. He just heard the commotion and ran over.
Yes,
but it's these two like oiks there as well. These 2 guys who come into it later on as well. And say, come on, man, can we just do this, without the courts getting involved or whatever, payoff thing or whatever. And he thinks she may have sprained her ankle. He's not certain. And she's limping a wee bit. But anyway, she seems all right, no head injuries, so they don't take it any further. And David walks off anyway, and gets one of the what do you call it? McGee's newspapers and reading through that.
Yes.
One for the trash.
Threw it in the bin like 5 seconds later.
Yeah,
you're like,
yeah. So why am I reading this crap? Yeah. And spots the girl walking down this alleyway, or limping rather at that point. And he goes to follow her because he's quite concerned. So when he turns a corner, she's behind, ducking behind.
I thought, what a greenback there.
Yeah. And counting all this money she's got, and she's very chuffed. And as she goes to run out, smiling, he spots her. Oh dear, I've been caught in the act.
Something is rotten in Denmark.
It was rotten in that alleyway. Yeah. So yeah, you've been caught in the act, mate. Yeah, how are you going to get out of this one? Anyway, she tries to talk him round a wee bit, explain. And anyway, that's kind of that. And we get our first look at Lou as Carl Molino, flipping burgers in a little cafe. Yeah.
Burger King need not apply.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, interesting take here. David's found himself a gig helping out in this cafe, and lo and behold, he's working alongside Lou in this one. It's Bill Bixby, so yeah, why not?
Yeah, it's quite nice to see both of them together, like, with Lou without the makeup and stuff. Just see the 2 of them acting off one. That's quite interesting. It turns out that Lou's character Carl, his dream is to get his own restaurant.
Yep.
And he's saving like crazy, and he's doing silly shifts and all that, trying to get to get this little place for himself to make his mum and dad proud, I think.
And going by that phone call, his mother and father are a bit overbearing.
Yeah, seems so. Yeah. But he doesn't want anything from them, really. I think he's just trying to do it on his own.
Yep.
And trying to make them proud of him, I think, but parents can be very strong like that, strong-willed.
Indeed.
With their kids. He needs $1,000 in order to get this business going. Like he has to put a deposit down, all that sort of thing.
Yep.
And he's struggling, and
he's got a pretty hefty nest egg. He's $1,000 short, and essentially, this is when Mandy clocks him in the restaurant.
Yes.
He comes in with flyers for the King of the Beach competition.
That's right. Yeah.
The bodybuilding competition for the area.
And she sort of spots him there, and she's looking him up and down, and think.
And you can actually see the dollar signs in her eyes to begin with. And you're like, yeah.
Thinking, I could make a few bucks out of him, yeah.
I wish that's how it initially started.
That's how it sort of starts, yeah, with the seed of the idea, yeah. So she starts chatting with him, and David doesn't really want to know after the incident that he had with her. He's keeping away from her a wee bit. I don't want any trouble, he says, But she says, the prize money is $3,000.
There you go.
For it, which is more than what he was looking for. And he thinks about it a wee bit, but he's not too certain at this point.
The gamble is, of course, you have to fork up front $1,000.
Yeah, that's right.
To get everything done. The entry fee, the clothing, the promotion.
Yeah.
So essentially, his little nest egg has to be gambled on the off chance that he wins this thing.
Yeah, it's a big gamble, and he says, what if I lose and all that, and things like that, And so at the gym, he's working out, Lou, and there's this other guy, I think, who's been a winner previously or something, or whatever, that guy.
Referred to as the king.
Yeah. No, yeah, he is the king of the beach. And I think, the couple of bozos that are with him, eyeing Lou up, and going, I think he could be a threat here, He's a threat to our chances of winning this. They're not very happy about him at all.
Yep.
And so I think they're going to try and find a way of, getting him out of the race, as it were.
Eliminate the competition.
Yeah.
The Hulk out. Essentially, we have the issue where Mandy eventually convinces, what's his character's name again? Carl, to basically take part in the competition. He gets back to the cafe with to David, and it's his second thoughts when he has a wee conversation with David. I kind of put my nest egg on the line, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so David shows up at the pier, underneath the pier, on the beach, to try and convince. Says, look, you're feeling a wee bit concerned here. Can you sign him up tomorrow? Come back with the money. And the guys that show up are essentially the guys that Mandy originally scammed at the beginning of the episode with the hit and run.
That's right.
They're not too happy with the fact that she's hustled them that money. So,
So they want their cut.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So of course that doesn't go well. And she gets a knife out on them,
Yeah. Oh yeah. She's handy with the blade, that girl.
She's not messing around, man. But of course, that they end up letting her go. But of course, now they've got David there. Mm-hmm. Oh, let's rough him up instead.
Let's go for ducking for apples in the sea.
That's it. So they start plunging his head under the water there at the pier there, which is a real pier. That's Santa Monica Pier.
Yep.
So he's been dunked under there, and you're just waiting for the eyes, aren't you? The eyes to appear. How many times are we going to get till that happens? Though I think it's about 4.
4 or 5, then they left them to go look for the money under the pier.
That's right. They're looking around on the top of these oil drums or something while he's transforming. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it gives them a bit of good, gives them a bit of hiding.
So essentially, up pops Owen Green, destroys the underneath wedge of the pier and throws them about a little bit.
Yeah. Throws one up on the rafters and throws the other one in the ocean.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Why not?
Sorts those two fellas out. Yeah, I don't think you see them again after that. I think that's their lot, really.
No, they're out of here, man. That guy's still swimming.
He said, no, I'm not going back there when he's around. Yeah, I keep going south or north. Yeah. Mm. So the Hulk kind of, he ambles off down the beach. And
here's your interviewee. Yes.
Yes, and nicely brings us on to the little scene with Angela Lee. Who's playing sandcastles there. Apparently it took a lot of takes to do that as well. She'll tell you that later on. And the Hulk comes along, and of course he wants to play with, obviously he's curious, what's she doing? And really, he's like the innocent giant, isn't he? It goes back to that kind of Frankenstein thing again, with the girl, which we've had a few times in the series, although generally the kids warm to him quite well, mostly, but this girl not having any of it.
I don't know, yeah. Go away, you've murdered my sandcastle.
She's giving him a right ticking off. And she actually says quite a good line. She says, hey, is that some kind of weird suntan lotion you got on there?
The innocence of a kid.
Yeah, great. So, of course, he's playing around with the sand, and he's just making a mess of it. And she more or less tells him to bugger off.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So he does. So it's just a nice little scene.
Thanks a lot, yeah.
Off he goes again. You always get those lovely little moments when he's coming down from the Hulk out, Then we cut back to Carl now is sort of going along with the idea now, isn't he? And he's sort of working out, getting ready for the competition.
No, essentially, I believe that Mandy came back in with the full amount of money.
Oh, that's right.
And she tried to convince David that she's legit, she's on the level.
He's not quite buying it, is he?
Yeah, can you hang around and help me train him for a week?
Yeah.
So that's what begins that.
That's right, yeah.
Montage of workouts for Carl.
You get a kind of a Rocky kind of montage. The old funky music. Of course, these guys are not happy about it at all, are they?
Nope.
The guys with the king.
So they call their manager.
Yes, and he's a right sleazeball, yeah. And
who's the caddy's name again? His name escapes me.
Think of it, man, offhand.
Okay, the manager guy.
Mr. Something.
Mr. Sleaze. So during Carl's week of training for this competition, he shows up during the training session and drops the revelation that, oh, hey, by the way, that money for your entry fee, that was me scamming Mandy. So Mandy, beginning to be starting off the episode as the hustler, ends up getting hustled tenfold midway through the episode.
Exactly, yeah.
Unbeknownst to her. Irony.
Yeah, because she said originally when she got the money up front, the whole thing, the entry fee, everything. She just said to David, "Oh, I got that."
Sold something, yeah.
Something, yeah, whatever, like pawning something off or whatever it might be. And it seems reasonably okay, but now we're getting a different kind of take on it, spin on it. And it's even worse than they thought.
Yep.
Because now it's in the hands of this, this crook.
Yeah, essentially, he owns the contract to Carol. Carol is kind of pissed about this revelation.
Yes.
And contemplating leaving the competition and going home.
Yeah, he seriously did, yeah.
After telling Mandy to basically bugger off at one point, you'll get another meal ticket, see you later.
Yeah. So anyway, Mandy arrives to see Carl, and at this point he does change his mind. He has a pep talk with David, doesn't he? And he does change his mind about it, doesn't he?
He basically comes to the conclusion, well, he might own me as a bodybuilder, but once I win that's your money, I'm out of here. So
yeah. That's his one shot, and basically he's going to try and make it. He doesn't want to. He just wants to try this crack at it. If he gets the money, he wants to continue with that business he's dreamt of.
Yep.
Yeah. So he's not really concerned about going.
We should mention that during this, he actually gets fired for his restaurant job.
He does. Well, it appears to be the case. Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
And David puts him up as a roommate in his whatever the hell he was staying this time and before. So he's.
Some little apartment somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere up. Yeah, he's only there for another week or two, so he can take it up.
Yeah, he said I'm going to have to move on, obviously, because he's had the Hulk thing happen.
Yeah,
he's not going to stick around town very long anyway. But he tries to encourage
1 more week tops. Yeah, come and stay.
Yeah, so he tries to encourage Carl to
take up the apartment and get a job in about the local area. Yeah,
yeah, and that's it, and get on with his life. But he's going to have to off ski. They say. Yeah. Now. So the later on, the competition's kind of warming up. They're all kind of like working out, getting ready for it. And things. Carl's there doing his workout.
His plexes and flexes. Yeah,
he's doing the old all that stuff. Yeah. And And Mandy turns up at that point as well, but he says, best not to bother him. And he's working out, he's concentrating. But she hangs around there anyway, keeping an eye on Carl. And David is told this is where the crooks have been like working something out.
Yeah, they're trying to last ditch effort to stop him from.
Yeah, they want to get rid of. They want to get. They don't want to mess him up or hurt him, but they want to get Carl out of the running a bit so that he misses his solo spot where he's doing the flexing on the podium.
Yep.
And then he's got less chance of actually, competing if he misses that spot. So they're trying to curtail that to happening, but it doesn't go quite according to plan.
No, they set up a diversion in the back room, like a phony phone call.
That's right. Yeah,
and David ends up taking the brunt of it. So
yeah, the way they're getting wired up on those weights with the.
That would have been graphic looking around about the neck, wouldn't it? Yeah, what the hell?
Man. That was quite severe. So the weights drop, his neck's going to, get yanked or whatever. Yeah.
So essentially he gets used as bait when he goes into the room. And then when Carl doesn't show up, he gets hooked up to the weights. Mandy tells him to go on stage, and Mandy realises something's up. She goes to the exact same room, and she gets roughed up. So
that's right.
Go figure. Yeah.
Then they got her, and they've sort of thrown her around in that, and David's obviously getting stressed in that.
Yep.
Until the old green eyes come out.
I think she actually got punched at one point, and then
that's quite strong stuff. I'll tell you back then, it was so different to what it is now. That's
Hulk out number 2. Yeah.
You can't do that now, man. It's graphic,
No, well, you could do it, but it has to be. I think it has to be the same sex on same sex.
Yes.
Then I don't think it can be either or. Well, saying that, if a woman did it, I don't know I don't know. I don't know how it works these days, but
but definitely not mixed sex. Mixed, yeah. But yeah, she gets a bit of a roughing up, and of course, so David's getting pissed and that, and he hulks out.
We should mention this isn't nothing to do with alcohol. We're talking about a hulk out,
Yeah, Americans will understand the term pissed. It's different to ours.
Yeah. I'm pissed. Yeah.
Yeah, he's really pissed. So pissed over here just means we're completely inebriated.
Yes, which means every day for me, but that's another story.
I was going to say Graham's an expert on that. If you want to.
Yes, I'm a pissed champion.
So anyway, we get. There's an interesting bit here, though, Graham. With the photography in it, because you get these intercuts with Carl like flexing on the podium, and you got the Hulk bursting out of his shirt at the same sort of time.
Yeah, it's like one of the ones. It's the same guy, but how can it be the two places at once?
Yeah, but I mean, some of the images are the same. Like when he's like flexing his arm, then you see the Hulk's shirt on the arm rip, then the chest bit, and the buttons are popping on the chest. It was kind of cut the same moves were happening. If you know what I mean. Well, that was quite an interesting thing they did. Anyway, Lou as Carl does get to have his his moment on stage. And the crowd really love him.
The ruffians get their comeuppance in the back room.
Yeah, he knocks one flying with
knocks one out, and the other one gets the old iron tied with him. The gag that you see a lot in these type of shows.
That's right.
Take it.
And the Hulk picks up Mandy, and lo and behold, this is where we see both of them together in the same scene. Two
double the woofer for your pleasure. Yeah,
and how much they make Hulk Lou look so much taller than Carl.
I assume there was some type of standing on a small box trick there or something, or a stair.
He's like
between both the camera, probably like a box or a crate or something.
Oh, definitely, we don't quite see the full thing. But he hands Mandy over to Carl.
Yep. and then I thought this was hysterical. The audience thought he was a participant in the competition. Pose for us.
Moves.
Guys, do you not realise his skin's green? It's the lighting. Pose for us. Yeah, okay. So it's not until he destroys the backdrop that he realises, oh, hang on, I don't think he's a competitor.
The Hulk doesn't like the limelight very much, though. And all the flashing photography gets on his nerves. So he ends up wrecking the set, pulling down the big backdrop, curtain thing.
And running a mile.
and smashing through the doors out the back, and off he goes, So all hell breaks loose there a bit, but then what the audience just think it's part of the show,
Part of the show.
Yeah.
So then we fade to black, and David's back with Carol and Mandy, and we learn that Carol's won the competition.
Yeah. And now and interestingly, he stays with Mandy.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to make a crack at it together and be like partners on the business, the restaurant.
Yep.
Which is really nice, that they stuck with it. They got over the differences.
Mm-hmm.
And it's doing the job, that's the thing he dreamed of doing all along. So he made it good.
There you go.
Yeah.
The moral of this story, kids, if you exercise, you can achieve anything.
You go to the gym, don't you, Graham? Yeah.
Not as much as Luther Rigno, but
No, he's in there every.
The best exercise I get is elbow bending.
Yeah.
Popeye, me.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Could the old right arm flex? Yeah. Comes in handy. Yeah. So anyway, that it all ends well, doesn't it? Really.
And we get the usual stick at the end. Thank you, bye. And nice David off hitchhiking again to the theme of The Lonely Man.
Yes, indeed. That classic that will stay, with us forever. That's that tune, yeah. But it's a nice little thing that Lou says to him at the end. They have they embrace in that.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, remember,
family, yeah,
we're your family. Yeah, I thought that was nice. Because that's really true. That was like Lou and Bill talking, really. Because Lou said in many interviews that Bill was like a mentor for him,
There you go.
And they worked together. He was like their slightly older brother, if you like, I think, and was very, very encouraging of him. And that I thought that was really nice, So it's just really nice to see them together because that's that was a one-off, that's never happened before or since. So in just to sort of go back to it, in terms of like, I'm curious to know, Graham, what you thought of Lou's acting in this as Carl.
You know what? Despite his limitations, and we all know what they are, he was fine. Some people might poke logic and hold on it and logic and just saying, well, he was just technically playing himself, put aside for the fact that his name was Carl and he was placed in a restaurant setting. But no, he was really good in this, and the interaction with Bill was top notch.
I agree. Yeah. This probably. I think he did. He did some acting in between that. Playing other roles. Like he did Hercules and things like that. But I believe that his dialogue was dubbed with another actor's voice for those films. It wasn't him.
Of the films, okay, right?
Yeah.
I don't see why. He was perfectly legible in this.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But for some reason, the filmmakers, had a different decision on that. And
maybe just to do with the time period and
So this may have been one of the first parts where he actually spoke as himself. Well,
I don't know what Bill Bixby said in the intro.
Yeah, that must. Yeah, he did. Yeah, that must have been his first proper acting thing.
His first speaking role or something.
First speaking role. Yeah. But I think he did. Yeah, I think he done a great job.
But they addressed it right at the beginning. You had to learn how to speak without hearing.
Yes,
that wasn't it. David talking to Carl. That was Bill talking to Lou. So that's what happened. So you're like, no, it's perfectly legible. No big deal.
Yeah, and it was kind of echoed a lot of his own life in that. It was not quite autobiographical, but a lot of those things that happened were things he was up against in his own life,
No deaf people need to use sign language, folks. It can be done.
Yeah. And he proved it, yeah. That you can do well for yourself with a handicap or something that's holding you back in your life, Sometimes you can do it, You just need a lot of grit and determination to follow it through. And he made a success of it,
Indeed.
And still is. He's doing all right out of it,
Comic-Cons are paying his pension.
That's right. Anyway, guys, that was the King of the Beach episode of The Incredible Hulk.
Indeed.
And I enjoyed having you with me, Graham, on this one. Thanks for
the pleasure, mate. Never I can, mate.
You know, my memory is not great. Even though I wrote these things down, I couldn't get all the dialogue in.
I'm sure we had enough to give him an overview between the two of us.
Yeah.
We don't, Bayface surely must accumulate to the brain of a peanut, so, we'll be all right, folks, as long as you got the gist of the episode. Yeah.
That's it. Some of us are beer-fueled, so you have to forgive us.
Yeah.
Yeah. But actually, Graham did a better job of it than I did, and I'm completely sober.
Well, But I guess so.
But please stick around, guys. We've got an interview I did a few days back with the actress Angela Lee Sloan, who played a little girl. And she'll also be talking about other things as well that she's been involved with. And she's a musician as well. So if you listen to all of it, there's a little treat at the end for all you guys, which is something that it's a first on the Incredible Hulk podcast that we've actually got someone who's a musician on there. So I hope you'll enjoy that little bit as well. So thank you so much for joining us, guys. Thanks, Graham.
No problem, mate.
It's always nice to have you on. And we'll see you soon on another Incredible Hulk podcast. Until then, take care.
Keep on hulking.
Well, guys, as we've been talking about the Incredible Hulk episode King of the Beach, I'm very pleased to be joined by an actress that was in that episode, but she was a very young actress at the time. In fact, this must be the youngest person I've interviewed for the Incredible Hulk podcast.
How funny.
Yeah.
Yay.
You're probably about the same age as me, Angela. I'm not sure. We'll find out in a minute, though. Yeah. And it's Angela Lee Sloan. Welcome to the Incredible Hulk podcast, Angela. How are you?
I'm great, Frank. Thank you so much. Thanks for finding me.
You're welcome. I'm really glad we connected. Now, originally, Angela, you were not from America. You were born in Liverpool in the UK, weren't you?
I was born in Liverpool, and we lived in Southport, and we moved here. My family moved here when I was about 3.5, 4 years old. And then my mom and dad got divorced, and my dad moved back to England. So all through my life, I would go back and forth. So I'd be, I'd come stay with my dad for a little bit and then go back home to my mom. And so I kind of got a little bit of a taste of both worlds.
Oh, yeah. And they're very different, I should think.
Extremely, totally different. I love England, though, but I miss it, too. I miss it so much. It's not easy to jump across the Atlantic, so it doesn't happen all the time. But every time I do, it's cherished, and all my dad's side of the family is there. So I have my little brother there, and so I love going back home.
So when did you get into acting? Was it over in England or was it in America?
It was here in America. My mom and dad were both singers. They were always performing, but they were singing, not acting wise. And then when we came to America, it was just a fluke, actually. It wasn't anything that my mom sought out. True story, I was at a garage sale when I was about 5 years old. And my mom was amazed by garage sales because they have boot sales in England, but they don't have garage sales where everyone puts all their stuff on the lawn. And so we'd stop at every garage sale. So my mom would give me $1 and say, okay, you can pick and choose what see what you can make out of that dollar and how much you can get. So I was, figuring out a quarter, how many dimes I had, how much I could accumulate. And this woman came over. She's like, oh, my God, your daughter. She's so, she's lovely. She's like, here's my card. I'm an agent. You really should call me. I think she'd do really well in television and acting. And so my mom had told her sister, and my mom's sister and her mother had moved from England 10 years prior. They'd been here for 10 years. And they just said, oh, no. It's a scam. There's a bunch of scam artists. Don't pay any attention. And then a couple months later, my mom found the card and thought, well, she was working 3 jobs, single mom, 3 kids. She's like, well, why not give it a chance? And so she called, and the lady became my agent, and it just kind of magically kept rolling like that.
Wow.
So nobody sought it out, but it was obviously meant to be.
Yeah. And so and that would be the point where you stayed in the States, and you didn't keep jumping back and forth.
Yeah, we always stayed here. My dad moved back home to England.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
So
yeah.
my mom and dad finally got divorced, and he stayed here till I was 9, and then he went back to England.
Right.
And what's really neat about The Incredible Hulk is on that specific set. My mom was always the one who would take me to, to all the auditions and all the jobs. But for some reason, my dad was on the set of The Incredible Hulk that day.
And he was.
He was so funny. Like he was so amazed. He was first of all, he loves Venice Beach. My dad's a Scouser in Venice. So I think it was October, November, chilly for LA. But my dad's got his short sleeves. He's got his short tank top on and his boxers. And he's going, bloody hell, this is gorgeous. This is fabulous. And he got to meet Lou Ferrigno. And he's like, look at the size of that body. Look at him. We were right near Muscle Beach. So it's the iconic, very LA, Venice Beach area. And my dad was just amazing. Lou Ferrigno is a really nice man. And he was amazed with my dad, sounding like one of the Beatles. So he was, he enjoyed chatting with him.
Oh, that sounds great. Cool. So I bet he was happy for you doing that.
Oh, he was. He was made up. I think he was more made up with Lou Ferrigno and his physique. But
yeah. So that's great. So how old were you when you were in the Hulk?
I think I must have been like 6 or 7.
Wow, quite young.
One of the very first things I did, maybe 7, 8. Maybe Gosh. 7, 8.
Wow.
So very little. I remember when I got that part, I got another part that worked the same week. I'd gotten a role on the Barbara Mandrell show to play Barbara Mandrell's sister Louise when she was a little girl. And I remember my mom asking me, well, wow, we got to make a choice. What do you want to do? Do you want to do the Barbara Mandrell show, or do you want to do The Incredible Hulk? And I'm like, The Incredible Hulk. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes, the Monster Man.
Yeah, absolutely.
I used to love it. I watched the show every weekend. I would cry every week at the end of the episode when he'd walk off on his own.
Yeah, that's always very sad, wasn't it, that bit?
It was. It always made me cry, but I loved the show as a little kid, so it was pretty like, what?
Yeah, to be in it, that's a completely different thing, yeah.
Absolutely.
So we get on to a bit more about the Hulk in a while there, Angela.
Yeah.
I just wanted to go back to a couple of things I looked up about you, some of the other things you did. You were in an episode. You were in The Love Boat as well. That was another popular series at the time.
I was, yes.
And what was that like to be on?
Oh, that was, first of all, I was, again, another show that I knew, iconic, and I was telling my mom, oh my God, we're going to go on a cruise. And no, it was no cruise. That was on 20th Docks in Culver City. Yeah. And I'm like, and there's a scene where we're swimming in the, in the pool. And of course, movie magic, it's only about a foot, not even a foot deep of water. So you're literally on your stomach on the bottom of the floor, pretending like you were swimming in a big pool.
Yeah.
But no, it was amazing. And that episode was really special. It was called, it was the Country Western Jamboree special. And it was a 2-hour special, or a two-parter, or a 2-hour special. And it had all the huge country greats, country music stars. And the woman who I was working, because there's different episodes within one episode. You've got this.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, different things, good storylines going on. Yeah.
Yeah. And my storyline was I was an orphan with my 2 little brothers, and we had seen this country singer come play at our orphanage, and we fell in love with her so much that we escaped and ran away from the orphanage and followed her onto the Love Boat. And the lady who played the woman that we love so much was none other than Florence Henderson, the mom from the Brady Bunch.
Ah, yeah.
So I was like, oh my God.
Another series you loved, yeah.
The Brady Bunch was like incredible. So I got to, she would bring me pictures of the cast of all the Brady kids and have them all signed for me. And it was like, I can't believe I get to be Mrs. Brady's daughter. So that was really cool. That was very special.
I'll bet. And I was really fascinated to know that you voiced Lucy Van Pelt in the Charlie Brown and Snoopy show.
Yes.
Wow, that's really great.
Series.
Yeah.
But I did a couple of the they would do like hour specials, and I did about 4 or 5 of them, and then the series came about, and I got to do the Saturday morning cartoon series, and working with Charles Schultz he was the nicest man. And he used to say, I was the longest running Lucy, because they've changed the voices up, of course, every so years, because they want to keep them to sound like real children. But I did the series, and he would say, he goes, "You're the longest running Lucy that we've ever had." And that was very, very special. And it's such an iconic, it's such an iconic cartoon. When we do these comic conventions, people come and just tell you their life. They grew up watching it, and they watched it with their mom and their grandmother, and it's so Americana. And that was another funny thing, because me and my mom were from England. We weren't really familiar with the awe and shock of Charlie Brown. We didn't really know what it was at the beginning. We very much learned, when I was doing the episodes, but we really didn't know exactly how special it was. It really was a wonderful experience. Charles Schultz was really kind to all.
Was that when did you do that? Was it in the 80s you did that, or?
In the 80s.
Yeah.
I think I started in 82, maybe about 82, when I was like 9 or 10.
Yeah.
And then I was there for 4 years with them.
That's great.
Really cool.
Yeah. That must be great. It must be an interesting experience, because you to do from like being in front of the camera to behind it and just doing a voice to a cartoon.
Yes.
What can you remember about doing that?
Well, it was funny because I didn't know what to expect when I first got on the set. And sometimes you just go into the booth, you'd have your lines, and you'd go in there with Bill Melendez, who was the producer on the show, and he'd kind of give you an idea what was going on in the scene. And then other times there would be in other scenes, there would be a projection monitor up there. So you'd see like the cartoon, you'd see Lucy yanking the football from Charlie. And you'd see what was what was happening. And it wasn't really necessarily, you didn't really need to mouth it perfectly, just by the way the cartoons were drawn. It's kind of, it wasn't like we had to follow exactly, but every now and then they'd show you the visuals that went along with what you were doing, which made it, all that more real. You're like, oh yeah.
Were you all in there together? Were you all the actors playing the voice? Were you all in the same? Were you in there at the same time recording, or did they do it separately?
We would go separately. Yeah, we would go separately, unless there was like something where they'd want you to be together, like maybe a party scene, or where you have to all be together. But 99% of the time, it was just you alone in the booth.
Yeah. Yeah.
And but we'd all go to school together. So all the kid actors, we'd all be sitting with the school teacher, and we'd be in a room doing our homework, and then, okay, Angela, come on in. And then I'd go back to school. And
I see. So they always kept the schooling going in between and everything.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Very strict labor laws in LA. Every child has to work 3 hours of school. And then depending on your age, you can only work a certain amount of hours on camera.
Sure.
So only an 8-hour day, 3 of that schooling, 1 hour of that is lunch. So it's very, they don't take advantage of the children.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting how they do that. Yeah. Yeah. And you always have to have a chaperone as well, don't you?
Absolutely.
Young actors usually have a chaperone on set and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. My mom was always there, and just laying low. She was very good. There's in acting, you see stage moms, you see crazy stuff, but my mom, she would just, she'd always say, if you want to do this, do it. I support you 100%. But if you don't like it, if you don't want to do it, you don't have to.
Yeah.
So it was never something that I was forced to. I truly loved it. I still do. I love anything creative with the process of acting.
I'm the same. I'm absolutely the same like that. I'm not happy unless I'm being creative in some way.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's kind of like fuel. I need it all the time.
Me too.
It's addictive once you start doing it. It's very hard to let it go. Seriously.
It really is, because it's part of you, and it's
an expression, isn't it? You have to express yourself somehow.
Otherwise, you just close up.
It pents up, exactly. Yeah. And it's best to do something positive with that pent up, rather than, it's best to do something that you enjoy. And get it out that way.
I agree.
Now we're skipping forward quite a lot here. More recently, you were in, or have been in or may still be in, the American version of Shameless.
Yes, I did. I was lucky. It wasn't a huge part, just one episode. Season 8, episode 2, and good little part. Just nice little monologue, not a huge one, but it's a fantastic show. So I was really excited to get to work on Shameless. And then I was telling my dad, I didn't realize that there was the English version.
Yes.
My dad got super excited. He's like, "Oh, Shameless, that's bloody great."
I've only seen the British version. I've never, because that was out for years. The British one. I've never seen the American version of it at all, so I can't
really
compare or.
Really great show. Obviously, the storyline, so it's just twisted.
I imagine it follows a similar pattern. Is it? I guess.
You say what?
I guess it follows a similar pattern to the British one. Same kind of dysfunctional family and the Frank character.
I apologize for the plane. We have some air traffic today.
Yeah.
I'm sitting outside, as you can see.
Yeah. But yeah, I quite enjoyed the British version. But as I say, I can't comment on the American one because I've never seen it. So, but I hear it's very popular. Yeah.
Yeah, the guy William H. Macy plays the lead character.
Oh yes, I know him. Yeah.
And he's so good. He's won a bunch of Emmys for the part, and the show's won tons of Emmys. And
he's great. Yeah,
it's really well done. Really well done.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah, I got the honor of working on that last year, and then I also worked on a webisode movie. It's called A Girl with a Gun. What? A Girl is a Gun.
A Girl is a Gun. Yeah. And
it's with Daniel Richards. Roxy. That's my dog, by the way, in the background.
So yeah, tell me about that. Yeah.
That was it's like a vigilante kind of women who have been harmed and misguided from terrible men, and they go into this underground world and they become vigilantes to
oh, that sounds good.
Get back. So that was that was a fun bit because I got to carry around, guns, and we had a gun expert on the set who was teaching us how to shoot a rifle and how to shoot, all these, crazy guns. So I'd never had that experience. So that was pretty cool.
Oh, that must have been really cool.
Yeah.
In a fantasy sense, not in the real sense, obviously. I mean,
Not in the real sense, exactly. No. Just play pretend. That's the kind that
That's right. That's the better. That's safe and pretend is different, obviously.
Yeah.
Usually different.
Enough of that. Yeah. Enough of that going on.
A lot of that going on, which is not good at all. We won't go down that route on this, but nope. I'm sure we could spend hours talking about that.
Exactly.
But now getting on to the subject in hand here, the Incredible Hulk, Angela. Tell me firstly how you got cast in that. How do they do it with children as opposed to adults? It must,
It's pretty much the same as it is for an adult. You have an agent, and they send you out. They know who their clients are. They get it. So Incredible Hulk has a little girl, 8-year-old little girl, and they'll send out all their viable clients that are 8 years old. And every other agency does the same thing. So you go into the audition and you get your sides, and you walk in, and there's a little sometimes a director or sometimes a casting agent there, and they'll read the signs with you, and you do the lines, and then you just hope and cross your fingers that it worked and that you get to play the part.
Did you have to do a little audition as well and everything? Yeah.
Yep. I remember sometimes my mom would pick me up after school, and literally we would drive to 3-4 auditions a day, like all over Hollywood. Sometimes you go to Hollywood, then you have to be, an hour away in a different city for your next audition. It was crazy. We spent a lot of time in the car singing ABBA.
Yeah.
That's what my mom and I would do.
That's pretty crazy. Yeah.
It was. It was good times.
So you got the part, Angela, eventually. I bet you were really, obviously chuffed about being on it as you watched it as a kid yourself. So that's interesting. You're coming from it from a different perspective in a way.
Yeah.
How long were you there? I know you were only in one scene, but how long do you remember it taking to shoot?
I think we were there for at least a couple of days, if not 2 or 3 days. I remember, of course, being at my favorite beach. And I think it was 2 days. I think we were shooting 2 days on the set.
Quite a while quite a while.
Yep. And because of course he had the makeup, and then there was like the breaking down of sandcastle and
Sure.
different, they take different shots. You've got a camera here, and then break to another shot, and then break to him ripping his clothes off, underneath the pier. And
the pier, was that all nearby? Was that all close by to where you were, or was that a completely separate? That was in the same area.
Yeah, all in the same area. Yeah, Venice Beach is a really very, very trendy beach in LA, and it's got the Santa Monica Pier that's within walking distance, and that was under the pier where he rips it off.
That was it, under the pier where the Hulk out happened. That's right. Yeah.
It's funny. I was just watching Fletch. I hadn't seen it in ages, but they had a scene underneath the pier. It must have been about the same time that we did The Incredible Hulk, because everything's the same, the chain link fence and everything's the same. So I'm like, must have been the same time we did Incredible Hulk, because it.
What's it look like there now? Have you ever been back into that location?
Yeah, it's close to us. It's built up now, like everything, So now everything's really fancy, and so it's elevated. But Venice Beach is still kind of like a hippie beach. Muscle Beach is still there, but Muscle Beach, where everybody works out, has it's built up. They've made it look huger and grander, and bigger, like signage everywhere, and but it's the same but more built up.
So can you remember the director, Barry Crane, and how he was with you directing, how he directed with you? And obviously I imagine a different kind of way because you're younger,
I know he was very nice, but I can't remember, I of course Lou Ferrigno stuck out because, for the obvious reasons, he's green with lots of muscles. But no, I can't remember. All I remember was that he was very nice, and he made it really easy. And it's funny. I've recently talked to. I see Lou Ferrigno at the comic conventions, and we've had a couple conversations where he's always saying to me, he's like, "Did I scare you? I hope I didn't scare you. When you were a kid." And I said, "Not at all. You didn't scare me at all." And I was telling him about how excited my dad was to meet him. And, being a total scouse from Liverpool, and he just cracks up, but he always goes back to it. He goes, "I didn't scare you though, did I? I didn't scare you." So it was a very kind cast, the director and the actors, they were all not trying to scare the little children.
So you were an interesting young child actor in it, because usually from some of the other episodes when the Hulk encounters young kids, they generally warm to him quite nicely, and want to play with him and everything or whatever,
Uh-huh.
But you gave him a bit of stick.
I did.
You gave him a telling off and all that. You weren't happy with him, were you?
I definitely did. I'm like, "What's with your weird green suntan lotion?"
Yeah. You weren't too happy about him kicking your sandcastle over and stuff,
Not at all. Not at all. Yeah, I wasn't having it. I spent all day on that. Big bully, big green bully.
Yeah.
He played that well on TV, but he was as sweet as can be. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you get to meet Bill as well?
I did. Bill Bixby, yes, I did. He was, and what a lovely man. What a really kind man.
Yeah.
And that was an interesting episode, as you know, because Lou Ferrigno was the first time him playing a regular person.
That's right.
In that episode, he played just a regular character, not the Hulk, in the restaurant. And I think Bill Bixby didn't direct it, obviously. But it was a big episode for Lou Ferrigno.
It was.
A real
You
big
had to do a huge amount of work on that because he's playing two different characters. You had to come in and out of makeup. It must have taken forever to do.
Yeah.
That was a lot of work for him to do, doing the speaking role and then meeting at one point as well and all that stuff.
Exactly, and he'd been doing the iconic role for so long, and I'm sure he had desires to be more than just.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like
he wanted to
him for this episode to be able to get a chance to deliver some acting chops.
Do you know what? I think he did a pretty good job of it too.
I think he did too.
Yeah.
I think he did too. And then I love seeing him go on comedically and doing King of the Hill, or is it not King of the Hill? The Kevin James, King of Queens.
Oh right, yeah.
Queens? Lou Ferrigno went on now doing I don't know if you've seen that one, but he's one of the poker players. He's in the episodes all the time.
Yeah.
But I think this was probably his first acting gig other than the Hulk. like big things. So
I think as a human character, yeah, if you like, speaking role,
exactly. Yeah.
And I think he did great.
Thank you, Frank.
Yeah, it was a great one. I thought it was an interesting one. I say, having him play two roles was fascinating, because I'm sure, as you said, he was eager to do that to flex his acting muscles as well as his normal muscles.
I like that. Very nicely said.
And I think also a lot of it was written especially for him, because a lot of it apparently echoed his own life. Some of the struggles he had as when he was growing up with his hearing problem and getting into the weightlifting side of things, and all that was played into the script, I think, for him. Now, I'm very interested in hearing, because I've not really spoken to many people connected with the Hulk who are musical as well, and you are.
Yes.
And I popped on YouTube today and found a song, you playing a song on there.
Nice.
And
which song by? Can I ask?
I'm trying to remember the name of it.
Don't feel bad. Don't worry.
It was you playing guitar in the garden, and you had blonde hair.
Yes. Maybe it was Eggshells or.
That's it. Eggshells. That's the one.
Okay. Nice.
And it was really nice. So I listened to that prior to the interview.
Thank you, Frank.
And that's when I had the idea of asking you if you kindly sing us a song live on the podcast at the end, because that's another first for us. I've never actually had a musical guest performing on the podcast before.
Yay!
I thought, that would be a great opportunity. Yeah.
I love it.
And so we'll do that in a second, Angela. Can you just tell us what the song is before you play it, so we can...
Absolutely. It's a new song. I'm working right now on a follow-up album to the album Eggshells that I did. And the song I'm going to do for you is called Out of the Blue.
Out of the Blue.
Yes. Out of the
Blue. It's a very new song for your next...
It's a new song, yes. It's a new song that I'm recording right now to work on the follow-up album. So you get a sneak peek.
Great. That's fantastic. So,
and I have a website, Angela Lee Sloan. .com, if anyone wants to check out things that are happening.
Sure.
I had a couple of my songs from the album Eggshells that got some television play. The show, what is it? Intelligence used one of my songs in their episode, and then I just had another one of my songs, Deja Vu, picked up for another TV show. Why am I blanking? Chris, you remember? What's that? Okay, I'll update you in 1 second. But so I've been playing songwriting all my life. My mom's a singer, dad's a singer, and so that's really my joy. I love. It was on Outcast season 1, a show called Outcast on Showtime or HBO. Anyway, so I love singing, I love writing, and that's been something that keeps what we were talking about earlier, your creative juices just going, and
very important.
That out.
Yeah. Well, it's been lovely speaking with you, Angela. I do appreciate you coming on.
Frank, you too. It's such a pleasure, such a treat.
It's been great.
And I've got my daughter here. Can I introduce you to my daughter?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
This is Emma.
Hi.
Wait, can you see?
Hello, Emma. How are you? I'm Frank. How are you?
That's Frank right there.
How are you doing?
And my daughter, Emma, she's 8.
Yeah.
And do you want to say anything?
I'm an actor too.
You want to say it again?
Are you going to sing? Are you going to sing for me? Well,
Emma does acting.
You do acting as well? That's great.
Yes, she did. What did you do last week?
I did a commercial for Apple.
She did a commercial for Apple.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, the new iPad coming out.
Oh, that's great.
So we're keeping it in the family. Do you like it? Do you enjoy it?
Yeah.
You're following in your mum's footsteps. That's brilliant.
So Emma was here. She's like, I want to watch your interview. And I said, yes. I said, would you want to come on and say hi? And she said, yes. So I'm so glad you did. And she's been helping me. She got my footstool ready so I could play guitar for you.
Oh, that's great.
She's been my sweet little helper. I love you.
You've been a little helper. That's brilliant.
It's
Nice to
really
meet you, Emma.
nice.
Yeah.
A lot of love.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. You got your own camera assistant there. That's great.
I can't believe it. I know she was so helpful. I said, "Oh my God, thank you, Emma." See,
That's brilliant. Yeah.
that's really brilliant. Makes it.
So we'll get you to sing a little song for us. Just play us out there, Angela, I think.
I would love to. I'd love to.
And then we'll say our little goodbyes after when you finish at the end there.
Sounds good. So this song is called "Out of the Blue." Should I back it up so you can see the guitar?
Yeah, sure.
But then you won't be able to hear me, will you? So I'll keep it here.
Oh, that's okay. I can see it. I got you. Yeah, you're in pretty good there. Yeah.
I sailed out into the sea that day. My mind was so far away. I've been thinking of you would be my surprise. I'd never seen that look in your eyes. Then you whispered into my ear the words most girls want to hear, but it left me in fear. It be you to say that your love was true, right out of the blue, out of the blue. I do, 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 do. Had to make up my mind. I never thought me the marrying kind. All gussied up in a fancy white dress, all eyes on me walking down the aisle. Oh, the thought made me smile. Ooh, it be you to say that your love was true, right out of the blue, out of the blue. You'd always been my best friend, and I was scared and didn't want that to end. I had to take time away to make me see that true love had always been right in front of me. Well, that's when I knew I was waiting for you. And I say that I do, and I'll bring something borrowed and blue out of the blue, heart and soul. I give you my heart and soul. I'll bring something old, something new, borrowed and blue, and a silver sixpence in my left shoe. Ooh, 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 'cause that's what we Brits do. Ooh, ooh, I do, 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 do. I do, 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 do. I do. Woo!
Oh, well, that was wonderful.
Thank you, Frank.
Thank you so much, Angela, for that.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for calling.
Oh, you're very welcome.
It's a pleasure chatting with you.
It's been great. Seriously great. And I hope you guys really enjoyed this as well. This has been quite.
Really did. And
this has been a very different one for us, having the musical number as well. It's like a little extra treat for you all. So I hope you enjoyed it.
I thoroughly did. Please send me a link. I'll put it on my website.
Yeah, I will. Absolutely. Yeah. So you guys want to see a bit more and want to hear a bit more about Angela, go to AngelaLeeSloan.com. That's her website. That song's called Out of the Blue, and it's going to be from her new album coming up sometime. So check that out, guys. I hope. And thanks for all of you for listening. We'll be back with more from the Incredible Hulk podcast very soon. Until then, take care.